And those questions also may have something additional, some new things to understand. So I'll just keep explaining as if rather than giving time, because limited time, let's look at that. There's a vertical wall here, and there's a hinge. On hinge, we connect a string and of length L, mass is connected here. And we know here the string is held horizontally. And this is connected against a vertical wall, and it is released from horizontal position. And I think this part we understand. If we release from horizontal position, it will have a circular motion in vertical plane. It will move in a path of radius L about point O. And at any point of time, its velocity will be tangential to the path. So when coefficient of restitution between wall and the ball is 0.9, so when it just strikes, see, as far as collision is concerned, it is related to velocity at the time it collides with the wall. So when it hits the wall, its velocity will be tangential to the circle here. Hence, velocity will be horizontal here. And what will this velocity here? This velocity will be equal to 2gl, and this becomes like a normal collision. This is something similar to ball striking a floor. So when it comes here, if this velocity of approach is velocity of the ball, because the ball is at rest, and velocity of separation also be velocity of the ball after the collision. So this something is less understood here. So it will collide with the wall with the velocity v equal to root 2gl, normal to the surface, and it will rebound with velocity e times of that. So whatever velocity it had with the strikes, if coefficient of restitution is 0.9, it will rebound with velocity which is 0.9 times. And when it rebounds with velocity 0.9 times, again, how much maximum height it will rise? The maximum height is equal to square the velocity by 2g. That we have seen in case of vertical circular motion. So again, it will rebound, it will reach a maximum height with respect to this level. From height, what is the maximum height it will rise? It will rise a maximum height equal to e square u square by 2g. But u square by 2g is nothing but L. So it will again reach a height e square L after collision with this wall. Okay, so that is something to consider here. So this problem is equivalent to, so what is happening, you notice here. See, if this problem, if I replace with something else, rather than having a vertical wall, if I had a horizontal surface, this also had the same coefficient of restriction E. When I drop this ball here also, this ball also will strike this surface with velocity of root 2gl. Here also striking root 2gl. If it bounces back velocity e times, it rises to height h here. Here also it rises to the same height. Pulley is only changing direction. Otherwise, all other parameters are similar. I think if you can appreciate that one. Otherwise, also not necessarily without this also we can do same. So question gives here, it will rebound, and what is the height it will reach? So from here, this point height was, it has started from height L from point of collision. It will reach a height equal to E square L after one collision. And after reaching that height, again it will be moving back. And again it will collide, again it will go back. So first time it will reach a height equal to E square L from the bottom. Second collision, it will reach a height equal to e raised to power 4L, and so on and so forth. It will continue like this. So what is the question here? What is the minimum of collisions after which maximum angular displacement of the ball after collision is less than 60 degree with the vertical? So how many collisions will it take when the maximum angular displacement, and suppose it is something like this, 60 degree. So for 60 degree, if maximum angular displacement is 60 degree, actually from point of impact, the height has to be L by 2. So as long as after collision, it rises to height of greater than L by 2, the maximum angular deviation will be greater than 60 degree. Moment this height term becomes less than L by 2, so it will become angular deflection or angular amplitude of deflection become less than 60 degree. So that's because L cos 60. Basically, we are using that L cos 60. So after one collision, what is the height it rises to? 0.9 square L. So that will be 0.81 L. Second time, again after the second collision, this also 0.81 into 0.81. Every time it is getting multiplied by E square. E square is 0.81. After second collision, it will rise to a height of 0.65 L. After 3 collision, it rises to height of 0.53 L. It is still slightly greater than 60. After 4th collision, it will become less than 60%. So it will take 4 collisions for its angle, maximum angular deflection after hitting the vertical wall to drop below 60 degree. Okay. Now we come to case here also. If you look at this question also, if you look at, we talked about something about line of collision. Line of collision here is perpendicular to the surface. This is the line of collision, and this was the line of motion. That's why it was 1D collision. So far we have dealt with only those cases where line of collision and line of motion are same. That is 1D. What is oblique collision? Is something like this. Ball striking the floor obliquely. Just you throw the ball here. When the ball hits the surface, it is simply when impact is related to what is the velocity, including its direction, just before it hits the floor here. So when we throw the ball, if it is not brought vertically, it is like example of oblique collision. So it will strike the surface at a certain angle. So when this is the direction of velocity, arrow indicates the direction of velocity. So this is my direction of motion. And this is direction of motion before collision. And this surface, this is a point at which collision takes place. If I draw a normal, common normal between 2 points, then this normal here is something like this. If floor is smooth, normally what we take is smooth, floor will exert a force only in this direction, vertical direction. Hence, impulse also is vertical direction. So direction in which the impulse acts is the direction, is the line of collision. So here this is the direction of motion or line of motion, and this is line of collision or line on which the impulse acts. Both are not along the same line, hence this is oblique collision. So let's understand here how do we deal with oblique collision. So important point is to understand the direction in which the impulse acts. Impulse will act only in the vertical direction. So hence only vertical direction velocities will change. Horizontal direction, it has no component. So if I break this momentum into horizontal component and vertical component, only the vertical component will undergo change. Horizontal component will not undergo a change. Simply because impulse is acting in the vertical direction, it means impulse has no horizontal component. So momentum in along the x direction will remain constant, conserved. So let's see here. So based on if coefficient of restitution is given, so in this case, if angle of impact is given or angle of and if coefficient of restitution is given, can we find at what is the angle at which after collision the ball will rebound? And very easy to arrive at this expression, and this is called oblique collision. Oblique collision also what we do, we ignore the tangential component. Tangential component remains same. So what we do, initially we remove the tangential component. We deal only with the normal component, find out what is the new normal momentum and velocity, and then again add the tangential component. So what we have done here, this velocity, this angle is alpha. We have broken this velocity into 2 components. This becomes u cos alpha and this u sin alpha. U sin alpha, since force acts only in the y direction, this only will change. This becomes velocity of approach. So when we talk about velocity of approach and when we talk about coefficient of restitution, we deal with only the component which is along the line of collision. So this becomes velocity of approach. Hence, in the normal direction, the velocity of separation becomes e times velocity of approach. So it will appear to be coming towards this surface at the speed of e, u cos alpha. It will go away with u cos alpha, and this component remains same. So when this component remains same, and if you are measuring angle beta from the vertical here, this is angle beta here. So tan beta will be equal to this side by this side. So when we measure angle from the vertical, it will be equal to horizontal component divided by vertical component. So what is tan theta? Let's write as the impulse acts only in the normal direction, tangential component velocity momentum remains unchanged. And we'll consider only normal component, it becomes like 1D collision. So once we ignore this part, it's just like a 1D collision. And then when we write tan beta becomes u cos alpha divided by u sin alpha. So when Sorry, I have written other way around. Okay, so basically this will be equal, yes, sine alpha. Yeah, it will be so tan component. What is this component here? This component is u sine alpha, and u cos alpha is the vertical component here. Right? So basically, horizontal component divided by vertical component. Horizontal component is u sine alpha by vertical component, and that comes equal to tan. This term is tan alpha, so it becomes tan alpha by e. So when you notice here, when e is always less than 1, so this quantity is greater than tan alpha. And since the tangent is an increasing function, if this quantity is greater than tan alpha, the beta also is greater than alpha. So whenever collision takes place, unless perfectly elastic, it will rebound at an angle greater than angle of incidence. So angular rebound is larger than angle of incidence, equal only for elastic collision. So that's a very simple relationship, and we can have some good questions found based on this simple relationship of oblique collision. So I hope this point is clear. Oblique collision, important things to understand what is when line of motion and line of collision are not same, and impulse will act only in line of collision. So we break down this velocity and momentum into components along the line of collision and perpendicular. The component which is perpendicular remains unchanged. Okay. So let's look at simpler question. A ball hits the floor at angle of 30 degree. If this angle is 30 degree, if you throw the ball, and if you can exactly measure just before the impact and just after the impact, what is the direction which the ball is moving with reference to vertical? Because here all angles we are measuring with reference to the normal to the surface, and rebounds at angle 60 degree. What is coefficient of restitution? This is very simple. In that case, coefficient of restitution is equal to tangent of alpha divided by tangent of beta, which is equal to 1 by 3. So when coefficient of restitution is 1 by 3, if angle is 60 degree, it becomes 30 degree, it becomes 60 degree. So that is something very simple relationship, and we can have some question which can be formed based on this. Let's look at some examples of oblique collision. A very simple example is suppose we have projectile, a typical projectile, and when we throw the projectile, it has certain, let's say, it has some x component ux, it has the y component of velocity uy. And any projectile, these are three typical parameters. Oblique projectile, it has a range of r, it reaches the maximum height h, it is a time of flight t. It hits the floor, and coefficient of restitution is e. So if again, if it is a rebound, like you throw the ball also, it has this kind of motion. Question is, if this was the parameters related to first part of projectile motion of the ball, what were the corresponding parameters for the next jump here? Till the from first collision till second collision. Again, we'll have a range term. Again, we'll have a maximum height term. Again, we'll have a time of flight term. And all those terms are related to initial values and coefficient of restitution. Let's understand what is the trajectory and how do we easily find those values. Let's look at what are the corresponding values after the first collision.
Captaincy and leadership and
okay. After collision, what is the important point here? See, this is something, just look at this. Just when this collision takes place here, it will come with the same velocity ux here, just before the collision. This point only I'm writing the velocity. Though I'm writing here, don't get confused. And this is uy. After the collision, ux will remain same. This is in the tangential direction. So when this next projectile motion starts, it will have x component same as before. Whatever x component here also is x component. But is y component, if it was uy earlier, just before the collision, it was uy in the downward direction, it will become e times uy. So which component of velocity has changed after the impact? If I compare with the first velocity of projection, for second, this also, it becomes e times. Vertical component has become e times. Okay. Now we should be able to easily answer here. Now, if y component has changed, which are the parameters depend on y component? H also depends on y type component. T also depends on y component. And so uy dash has become e times uy. And now we can easily answer the height, maximum height it reaches is equal to square of y component by 2g. So if I write maximum height as h dash, this would be equal to this is y component of velocity, square of that divided by 2g, which is equal to e square into u square by 2g. What is u square by 2g? That's nothing but h. So this height also will become e square times h. And this is pretty simple. If I look at vertical motion, it is equivalent to, see, at this particular time, vertical velocity is 0. It is equivalent to ball being dropped from a height h. And when it rebounds to maximum height of e square h. So some of you can relate this point also. So this maximum height, if this was height h, it becomes e square h. How about time of flight? Time of flight, t is equal to twice the y component of velocity divided by g. So here what has happened, this term has become, in case of t dash, it is equal to 2 into eu by g. It means time of flight also has become e times. Maximum height has become e square times and time of flight has become e times. That's what, so h term has become e square h. Time of flight has become et. Can someone easily tell what will the r dash be equal to? R dash will be equal to ER. Why R dash will be equal to ER? Horizontal velocity is same, but what is range? Range is equal to horizontal velocity into time of flight. Horizontal component of velocity has remained same. Time of flight has become E times, hence the range also becomes ER. And similar thing will keep on repeating. So this is something as an example of oblique collision, and you can have some questions framed based on this. Once basics are understood, we can easily solve such question. Okay, I will do one question, and this is, I'm doing it not for sake of collision alone. I'm just doing it so that we understand some bit of vectors also. Because vectors is not a topic we get a separate question, but I'm doing a question which is more than collision. It involves a good understanding of vectors as well. So let's look at what the question is. A sphere of mass m is moving with the velocity 4 I cap minus 4 j minus j cap. This velocity is given, so it is having motion in ij plane, which could be, it doesn't matter which plane it is. It hits a frictionless surface and rebounds with some other velocity. We need to find what is the coefficient of restitution. And quite clearly, this motion is something is not, see, both components are changing here. It means in normal direction, it has some oblique kind of collision. And we don't know which kind of surface is it. So how do we solve such question? Let's look at this, let's pay attention. What is given in the question, and we don't know what the shape of the floor is, definitely not horizontal or. So let's look at that here. So let's say this is something, I don't know what the floor is. This is what is given here. Initial velocity is given. Final velocities are given. These two are given in vector form. And we don't know what angle the floor is. Okay. So what we understand here, if we take floor at some point, what is the important property we have in case of oblique collision? If I take the direction of floor as to be t cap. T cap is a unit vector along the floor. If I take component of velocity along the floor and before the collision and after the collision, both components must come equal and it should come in the same direction. That's an important property which I can use. So I can find direction in which the floor is by equating the component of initial velocity before collision and velocity after collision. Let's see how do I do it. So component of surface, this I have taken, t cap indicates direction of tangent. So let's assume t cap, it makes an angle theta with the horizontal, and horizontal is along I cap. If I t cap here, so t cap, what is the magnitude? Magnitude will be equal to 1, that's a unit vector. If it is 1, is x component becomes cos theta I cap and becomes sin theta j cap. So if I have to write t cap vector, which is making angle theta with the horizontal, I can write t cap vector as this. So, and this is true for every case. So I have taken this as unit vector. So t cap is cos theta I cap plus sin theta j cap. And this is a typical value of unit vector making an angle theta with respect to positive x-axis, taking anti-clockwise as positive. And I find it pretty useful in many cases which you have to deal with vectors. So this t. Now I'll take and components and equate. Only unknown in t cap is theta, so I need only one equation to find the value of theta. So component of this vector, u bar vector, if I take the dot product, it will give me the component. So dot product is 4 into cos theta and minus 1 into sin theta. So this is a component of initial velocity along tangential direction. Similarly, I can take component of final velocity after collision. This is 1 into cos theta and 3 into sin theta. These two have to be equal. When I equate, I find the value of tan theta, and hence I find the sin theta and cos theta. Only one unknown. So equating, I get tan theta is equal to 3 by 5, or cos theta is equal to 3 by 4, sorry, 3 by 4, tan theta is 3 by 4. So sin theta becomes 3 by 5, cos theta becomes 4 by 5. I have found the direction in which the flow is. Okay, but that is not what is required here. But once I understood direction, typically to find coefficient of restitution, let's come back again here. What do I need to find coefficient of restitution? To find coefficient of restitution, I need velocity of separation divided by velocity of approach. And what is velocity of separation? Velocity of separation is normal component of v. So I need normal component of v and divide by normal component of u, and both will be always in the opposite direction. Now that's what I need here. To find the component, actually I need n cap vector. I have found only t cap vector. But once I have found t cap vector, if t cap vector makes angle theta from here, n cap will make an angle theta plus pi by 2. So I can write n cap vector. So I'm doing this problem again to repeat. So what is the angle made by the normal vector? Theta plus pi by 2. So what is n cap vector? N cap vector will be cos theta plus pi by 2. So cos theta plus pi by 2 becomes minus sin theta I cap plus cos theta j cap. I have used the same thing, but I substitute here, I get this value here. It becomes equal to, so I could have written what is n cap equal to? N cap becomes equal to cos theta plus pi by 2. Because now the angle is this angle now. When this was the angle is theta, it will become theta plus 90. It becomes sin theta plus pi by 2 j cap, and those values becomes equal to minus sin theta I cap, and this becomes cos theta j cap. And I know the sin theta value and cos theta value. I get the value of n cap vector. Now after n cap vector, once I have n cap vector, if I take dot product of u bar and n cap, it gives this component along normal direction. And if I take this direction also, I'll get the normal component also. So basically, I can find both of them. So normal component of u bar, and here I'm just interested in magnitude. When to find the restitution, I know both are in the opposite direction. I will take the magnitude of normal components, and this should come in the opposite side. Let's look at this. What is normal component of initial velocity along the n cap vector? I have to take the dot product of this quantity with n cap. So 4 into minus 3 by 5, minus 4 by 5, and minus 1 into 4 by 5. This is the value. It is negative. Of course, this has to be negative. It means dominant n cap direction we have come around is correct one. It will have negative velocity. So if I take this magnitude becomes equal to 16 by 5. Similarly, I find the normal component of v bar, final velocity. This is the final velocity. Take this dot product with n cap vector, 1 into minus 3 by 5 and 3 into 4 by 5. So this is 12 by 5, and this comes from the opposite sign. Yeah, and it should have come to opposite sign, which is 2. And this comes to 9 by 5. Now I have, this is nothing but velocity of separation magnitude. This is nothing but velocity of approach along the normal direction. Now I can calculate coefficient of restitution, which comes to 9 by 16. That this is understood. This is a very good question on understanding vector. And some of the books, they give some formula for COR, which is not easy to remember. So without formula, if you have to do it, this is a way you could solve it. And this is also useful in case of geometric optics also, in some cases, where it is given in form of vector. And a very useful example. Okay. Now let's continue with some more examples of oblique collision. Oblique collision, this is, see, we have taken some case when the ball is dropped in a horizontal. It becomes a normal collision, unless the ball falls at an angle. So this case, the surface of floor itself is at inclination of 30 degree, and a small ball is dropped from height edge on a fixed inclined surface as shown in the figure. So this ball here, from point of impact, it is a height edge, and if after striking the surface, if the velocity of ball becomes horizontal, then what is the coefficient of restitution of the collision? So this is certainly the ball here, and we are concerned only when it comes and strikes the surface. So it's an example of oblique collision. Why is it oblique? This is a point where collision takes place, and this surface will exert an impulse only in the normal direction. Which is normal direction? This is normal direction here. So this is the line of impulse or line of collision, and this is the line of motion. And it's not one D, it's an oblique collision. And in that case, there's the angle of incidence, angle alpha. And then if velocity becomes horizontal, so this is my initial velocity. It comes and strikes. And this is how it bounces back soon after collision. And then after, of course, it will continue a kind of parabolic motion. So if this angle alpha is 30, and if it becomes vertical, this angle is 60. So angle of incidence is 30, angle of rebound is 60. We are done with that cancel. E is equal to 10 alpha by 10 beta, which becomes equal to 1 by 3. We can easily find. And whenever such questions are given, it can also ask, once we have done this part, we know what the value of u is. And number of questions which can follow based on this, once we arrive this velocity, number of questions which can follow will be also what is the impulse which have acted. That also can be answered based on this. Once we arrive at this velocity. Second thing, can we find out value of v? What is the magnitude of this velocity? That also by taking components we can find out. We can also find out what is the percentage loss of kinetic energy. All these questions can follow once you have done this. And so all this question we can have done only one part, but the rest of the question also we can follow. Impulse, we can, what will be the impulse here? We take this impulse will be equal to, very easy to follow. Velocity of approach will be equal to u cos alpha, and velocity of separation will be equal to EU cos alpha, opposite direction. So change in momentum here will be equal to m into, since these two are in opposite, when you take change, they will add up u cos alpha plus E cos alpha. So that is the impulse here. And as similar, we can calculate all other parameters. So this example of oblique collision. And we can solve such thing. So basically, you can solve this part also. I hope all of you can understand this part also. Velocity just before collision root 2gh, normal component, tangential component, and all those things can be calculated. Okay. So after collision, what is the normal component, tangential component? And I have just calculated value of v. Once we have normal component and tangential component, the tangential component will remain the same. That's what we have done. Normal component becomes 1 by 3 times. And if you have to find velocity, these two, we take the vector sum, which with this is square plus this is square whole square root. We can find out velocity. And once we found out velocity, we can find fractional loss of energy. And we can also find out the range, not any other question that follows. Right. Then I come to one more question, which is also common. And something like this. With basically two circle equal masses. And this particle also mass m, this particle also mass m, and they are made to move in a horizontal circular orbit. So basically, we can make a circular groove in a horizontal plate. So this is lying in which plane? This is lying in a horizontal plane, and you can imagine this. It can be made to move in a. This is what you call as a smooth circular groove. We made a smooth circular groove. So it can move smooth circular groove and no loss of energy will take place. And this question can come in variety of forms. Let's deal with one type. So both are mm, and from same point, they are given opposite velocity. One is given v, other is given as 2. Okay, so this, let's see, this is the radius of circle. It may not be relevant here, but anyway. So if we are given tangential velocity v and 2v, between collision, first of all, if I call, let me take this as x-axis and this as y-axis. And I'm measuring theta with respect to x-axis, this direction, positive. So this also undergoes circular motion. Again, I refresh this system here. So which was the initial position of both the balls? The first initial position of both the balls was equal to initial position of two balls was at theta initial was at 90 degree or pi by 2. That was the initial position. You understand here. Now, can we tell what is the angular position theta b measured from 0 to 360 where the first collision will take place? So we can do in a couple of ways. One way of thinking would be this will have angular velocity. It doesn't move in a straight path. So it will have, so this particle will have angular velocity equal to 2v by r. This is 2, and omega 1 will be equal to v by r. So since angular velocity is twice, in same time, whenever it travels, it has angular displacement of theta. It will have angular displacement of 2 theta. Or in this case, if I write what is the relative angular velocity? Relative angular velocity, since both angular velocities are in the opposite side, will be sum of these two. Relative angular velocity will be equal to 3v by r. So if a 3b by r is as seen from this object will be moving in the angular velocity of 3b by r. If this is the angular velocity, when they collide again, the angular displacement of first collision has to be equal to 2 pi. That's one way we can understand. So for how much time to take to first collision to take place, it has to be time taken will be equal to angular displacement. Time is equal to displacement by time, but now it is angular displacement. I'll write angular displacement by angular velocity. And here when we're talking about relative velocity, it is angular displacement is 2 pi, and relative velocity here, I can calculate angular velocity or time it will take. But otherwise also you have to solve. See, when they have, this will travel half the angle of this one. So if they have to travel 360, this has to rotate by 120 degree, and this has to move by 240 degree. So this is the first point where the collision will take place. This is the point for first collision. First collision, so if I write position of first collision, I am doing this one because so that any question about this kind of collision you understand. So position of first collision. It is from 90 because another 120 plus, it becomes at which angle? At 210 degree. What will happen? So before the collision, it has come with the velocity v, and this has come with 2. After collision, since the collision is elastic, both have equal mass, velocities will interchange. So after collision, I am marking after the collision. After collision, this becomes one which has come with 2v, this becomes v, and this becomes 2. Now, which position will the second collision take place? Position of second collision. Now, second collision from here, this is moving from here. Second collision will take place. The one which is moving in the slower speed, now this will undergo deflection of 120 degree. So from this position, I'll measure an angle of 120 degree, and this from this side. How much degree from this side? 240 degree. 120 degree from here, if I add 10 to 10, it becomes equal to 330. 330 is this something here. That's where the second collision will take place. The second collision will take place at 210 degree plus 120 degree, which is equal to 330 degree. That's the position of second collision. Second collision, what will the velocity after second collision? Again, after collision, velocity will interchange. I am marking the velocity. This has come down with velocity 2v. Now this becomes v, and this becomes 2v. Now, where will the third collision take place? Third collision will take place now from this side, the one which is moving slower. From here, another 120 degree. From here, another 120 degree. Another 120 degree, if I add 330, so position of third collision. Where is the position of third collision? At 330 plus 120 degree. It becomes equal to 450. 450 is nothing but 90 degree. Third collision will take place at A. So that's how we calculate here. Now, if I ask different question, I can also ask question time taken. What happens? Suppose coefficient of restitution was something else. Suppose these are two identical balls, both identical ball, and both are given same velocity. But if the coefficient of restitution is 1 by 2, then how the whole questions will change. So suppose I take a similar question. Similar question is something like this. If I have one ball here, another ball is diametrically opposite point. So I have two balls, A and B, and both are moving in a smooth horizontal groove. So if this gives a velocity V and this also gives velocity V. Where they will collide, of course, they will come and collide at this point. This will be my first point of collision. And let's take the delta T for first collision. First collision is say 1 second. So from the initial point, it has reached 1 second, this collision has taken place. Now, E is 1 by 2. Can we calculate what is the time interval between first collision and second collision? First and second collision. Can we calculate that also? So for that also it's fairly simple. If both masses are equal, after the collision has taken place here, first case what has happened? In this case, they have undergone a relative displacement of 180 degree with a relative velocity of 2v. So first collision, it has an angular, it has traveled a distance of half the parameter with a relative speed of 2v. P by 2 distance traveled at a relative speed of 2v and time taken is 1 second. For second collision, if this velocity was v, if coefficient of restitution is 1 by 2, what will happen? Both velocities will become half. This also become v by 2 and this also become v by 2. Or in more general sense, if I write, this also become equal to ev and this also becomes ev. So what is the time taken for the second collision? The speed has become e times. So time taken will become 1 by e time for same angular displacement, but now it has traveled twice the distance. The time taken for second collision will be equal to 2 by e. So since e is 1 by 2, the second collision will take 4 times more time. Second collision, time between first second collision will be 4 seconds. Okay, so that's what I think I just wanted to cover about topic of collision and how